It is 1:30, so we'll call the Board of Commissioners public hearing on file number 439-25-00002-LRP. And we are here in the courthouse auditorium and on audio video conference. Purpose of, I'm going to apologize if I have the hiccups. I've had an intractable case all day, so I'll try to subdue them. Purpose of this public hearing is to consider a Jackson County Planning Commission recommendation of approval for a minor comprehensive plan map amendment to add approximately 24.5 acres into the Phoenix urban growth boundary. Located within a portion of the Urban Reserve PH-1A, the subject properties are identified as Township 38 South, Range 1 West, Section 05D, Tax Lot 1300, and Township 38 South, Range 1 West, Section 05D, Tax Lot 1400, and are located at 2195 Voorhees Road, Medford. South Stage LLC is the applicant, and this is a file number 439-25-00002-LRP. And with us, we have Kristen Mays, Don Cox, and Pete Philbrick from our County Counsel's office. And at this point, could I ask County Counsel to read the admonishment and rules for the public hearing, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Please remember to direct your testimony and evidence towards the criteria or rules set forth in the published notice for the hearing. Those criteria, rules, and standards will be further outlined for you by staff momentarily. You may also direct your testimony to other criteria in the comprehensive plan, land development ordinance, or other land use regulations which you believe apply to this decision. Understand that a failure to raise an issue with statements or evidence sufficient to give the decision makers or other parties the ability to respond to the issue will preclude or prevent your appeal based on that issue. We are making a recording of the hearing. In the event of an appeal, it may be necessary to transcribe it. Therefore, when you testify or comment, please begin by identifying yourself so that anybody reading the transcript or record will know who's talking. We will first hear from staff and the applicant will follow. Then we'll hear from those who wish to comment in favor of the application, and then we'll hear from those who are opposed. The applicant has the burden of proof in its case. Thus, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to the comments and opposition. Once everyone has had an opportunity to speak to the at the public hearing, and the record will be closed unless there is a request for continuance. If so, then another set of rules will apply. However, if there is no continuance, the commissioners will proceed to deliberate toward a final land use decision. Finally, we have a couple housekeeping issues to resolve. First is an opportunity for commissioners to announce whether they have had any ex parte contacts. If ex parte contacts have occurred, please discuss the nature and content of the ex parte content or contacts so that the parties are aware of the substance of the communication when the hearing is open today and have an opportunity to rebut any evidence obtained via ex parte contact. This is also an opportunity for commissioners to announce whether they have any actual or potential conflicts of interest with respect to the matter today or the applicant. If so, the commissioners can discuss the nature of that actual or potential conflict and address how they wish to proceed. Are there any ex parte contacts or conflicts of interest to report?
I have none.
And I have none.
I have none.
The rules for this hearing are as follows. Only the chair or member of Board of County Commissioners may question a speaker. There will be no interruption of a speaker from the audience and no debates on the floor. Applause is not permitted. A speaker may criticize a proposal, the board, or an agency of the county, but speaker shall not argue with another speaker directly. Any speaker may present an opposite view, but not in personal terms. A person wishing to speak shall raise his or her hand and be recognized by the chair conducting the hearing. After being recognized, the speaker shall state his or her name and address before proceeding with his or her statement, and the chair may limit the duration of any presentation to the time necessary to cover factual information. Repetition by a speaker shall be avoided. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to request the planning staff report, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Dawn Cox, a planner with Jackson County Development Services, located at 10 South Oakdale, room 100 in Medford, Oregon, 97501. The proposal before you is a minor comprehensive plan amendment adding approximately 24.5 acres into the Phoenix urban growth boundary. The City of Phoenix approved this urban growth boundary amendment as proposed per ordinance number 1051, signed on November 3rd, 2025. The staff report, pages 13 through 52 of the Planning Commission record, provide findings for each of the approval criteria. As previously mentioned, the Phoenix Urban Growth Boundary Amendment has already been adopted by the City of Phoenix. The subject properties are identified as Township 38 South, Range 1 West, Section 05D, tax lots 1300 and 1400, located at 2195 Voorhees Road. They're shown on the map as the bright yellow. County zoning will continue to be exclusive farm use for tax lot 1300 and rural residential 5 for tax lot 1400, following the inclusion of the urban growth boundary until such a time as the property is annexed into the city and the appropriate City of Phoenix zoning is applied. The conceptual transportation plan, shown here, was reviewed and adopted by Rogue Valley Metropolitan Planning Organization, demonstrating compliance with the regional plan element of the Jackson County Comprehensive Plan. The map shows the 2 subject properties in PH1 and potential options for future connectivity. PH1 is shown in green hash marks, and it is north of Hoyt Lane, south of South Stage, and west of the Phoenix urban growth boundary. The agent's findings explain that the proposed future use of the subject properties will be industrial. The City of Phoenix has approved this project as submitted. It is therefore recommended by Jackson County Planning Commission that the Board of Commissioners approve the proposed urban growth boundary amendment. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, since we have no questions, planning staff will go ahead and open the public hearing, and we will have the applicant come first. Mr. Harlan, how are you?
Good. Good afternoon. For the record, Jay Harlan with CSA Planning and AKS Company with offices at 4497 Brown Ridge here in Medford. I guess I would just comment by saying Planning Commission did its usual thorough job of reviewing the application. I think their recommendation can be relied on in this matter, and we would request the board approve the UGB amendment. Staff did a good job sort of giving the overall summary. This is an area that's urban reserve. The regional plan has contemplated this area 100% for employment since it was adopted in 2012. So this is just the natural extension of land use planning that has occurred in this area. I don't have a lot more to add except to say in the real world, outside of the planning world, for 20 years I've been doing this, we not infrequently have gotten requests about, hey, what industrial land is available that's serviced by rail essentially south of McAndrews? And the answer consistently has been, essentially there isn't any, right? I take that back, there's the Croman piece down in Ashland, but Ashland has a lot of visions of what that would be, which is not really the type of thing that you would usually use a rail-served industrial site for. So as a practical matter, there just hasn't been any. And so there's obviously some more steps to do. It needs to be annexed, it needs to be rezoned in the city's zoning district, but this is the major step to bring finally some land that is rail-served south of McAndrews Road on the south part of the valley available to provide that kind of employment opportunity. It's not guaranteed that it will be a rail-dependent use, but I think that's probably where the interest is going to come from. So I'm happy to answer any additional questions that the board may have.
Any questions?
Jay, I have a question from the Planning Commission meeting and the subsequent email we just received today from a resident. Their advice kind of to you was for CSA to reach out to the property owners after that meeting, and I was wondering if that occurred.
I believe I provided my contact information, and I said I'm available to meet and talk to you, and it didn't happen.
You ever meet? Okay.
But we would have been happy to do so. And there's not kind of really any immediate property owners. The property owners are really along West Glenwood, right? And the way the property sits, there's a kind of a low area that has it's a damp area, so I don't know that that one little triangle is going to be ultimately very developable because it's lower elevation relative to the rest of the property and the railroad. So there's not, I don't really think there's going to be a lot really adjacent to that, the little strip of houses along West Glenwood there.
Yeah, because it was about wetlands or transportation, and I know we're not talking about any specific development, we're just talking about an urban growth boundary amendment, but they definitely had concerns, so I didn't know if they got all their questions answered, and
Yeah, and some of that too, I would point out, like the city of Phoenix has development standards and it's got to go through site plan review. So there's all the different design considerations that go into an actual project, right? That, the city of Phoenix has, fairly pretty normal site plan requirements to kind of address landscaping and buffering and parking and all those sort of normal urban development things.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so we'll start with those in favor. I have two people signed up. Robert Rackley, are you in favor or opposed to the?
Opposed.
Okay, so Nathan Emerson?
No, he already said what I was going to say.
All right, well then, come on up, Robert, and give your name and address for the record, please. And
My name's Robert Rackley. It's 2335 Voorhees Road, Medford, 97501. It's more of a question that was never answered that I attempted to ask at the last meeting on this and was told that wasn't the appropriate time or place. So I didn't. So now I am going to ask. And part of this is that in the first proposal, it didn't show an emergency access road coming off of Voorhees Road, going down to the back. Our house is on Voorhees Road there, and that road, the proposed road at this point, is going to be going right past our house. And it says emergency access road. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that in case of a fire, or does that mean it's going to have access total time and there's going to be trucks driving up and down there all the time? So I would like to have that question answered. That's the concern. As far as the development of the property in back of us there, that's, person owns the property, and they're going about it the correct way as far as developing it. And, it's going to cut off our view of the mountains, but that's kind of how things go sometimes. So, that's kind of a primary concern of ours. And is the development, if that is going to be a road there, then are there going to be buildings being built right there? Because now that is within 30 feet of our house. So that's a concern. And, I would like to have an answer, or like when you say, well, there is no proposed building, so what does that mean? Is it going to be a lumber mill? Are we going to have 24/7 sound, noise, pollution? What's going to go on there? Because at some point in time, it is going to have a definite impact on the value of our property. And so I would like those questions answered, if there's any way that can be answered.
okay, and I think that's questions that'll be answered in subsequent development, but is there some answer staff may have that could at least partially answer what Mr. Rackley's asking?
For the emergency access parcel, that's not part of this UGB amendment. That is proposed by the applicants as emergency access. Typically, that's a gated access, so it wouldn't have consistent access all day long, every day. It would just be gated.
Okay, that's good.
But I don't know what the applicant's agent has decided how that's going to look and what that's going to be, but that's a typical emergency access.
Okay.
And I'll have the, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I will have the applicant, if he wants to respond, and maybe can clear some some of this up a little bit. I don't know exactly what they do know at this point, but I'll have him respond if he'd like to or can.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
Is that something that the applicant has? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my turn.
Yeah, if you're done with your
Well,
question.
that was my main concern. Like I say, I understand that there's going to be buildings back there and stuff. That's part of industrial. And once again, you know, a person buys a piece of property and goes through the process and the expense and time of developing it. That's certainly within their right to do, and I don't fight that at all. But as far as the other, that is a concern. And then, like I said, if, you know, so, yeah, if he could answer that, that would be wonderful.
I think he'll say what he knows and what he can.
Okay. And if there is another time that I need to address the other, can you please tell me when that would be, or will I be notified? Will we be notified?
It'd probably be after the property's annexed, and then they apply for some sort of a application for development with the city of Phoenix at that point, is my guess, is when this would.
That's correct. There'll be a hearing, I believe there'll be a hearing for the annexation, and that'll be in the city of Phoenix.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mr. Harlan, if you'd like to.
Again, for the record, Jay Harlan. So the owner has actually already gotten the road approach permit for the emergency access, and it's all the way at the south of the strip that goes out to Voorhees so it's actually as far away as it can physically be from their property. I had to verify that I was looking at the right property. So it's as far away as it can be for them. Staff is correct. It would be emergency only and gated. We don't actually want people using that all the time, but in the event of an emergency, then there's a second way out, and that's something the fire department is going to look for in the future with future industrial development. And, you know, for what we can do right now at the UGB stage, that's really as much as you know, we know. It just really depends on what, you know, what development is proposed where as far as buildings and those sort of things, and that'll really be as part of the site plan review process with the city of Phoenix. But at that point, they would be welcome to, you know, provide concerns, and sometimes developers change landscaping and parking lots and make adjustments based upon what they hear. So, but for right now, that's on that issue. That would not be a regular access. Staff is correct and is located as far away as we can get it from that property, which was to be separate from them, but also because that's the shortest distance to West Glenwood, which only has one way in and out across the railroad tracks. So the idea being, hopefully you know, at some point government does its thing and at least there's a second emergency access out that way to that area that is currently one way in, one way out across a railroad tracks on a very non-standard and potentially not even permitted Corp Railroad crossing. So there's a long history with that West Glenwood thing, and we're not doing any development down there, so I've never dug fully into it, but I know it has a long history. That's about as much as I know. And staff is correct that southerly strip, that's outside the urban reserve, and that is not part of the UGB request, so there will need to be a partition there, and then that will remain EFU till who knows when.
Right. And as far as any future development, obviously it depends on the type of the application in Phoenix, but more than likely the neighbors will get noticed for an opportunity to be heard on that application with the city of Phoenix.
Ideally, that's the way that would work, yes.
It depends on the type of application, I'm sure.
Well, I can tell you what their code says now, but if it's a land use decision, it's required to have notice, and the notice distance is much smaller in cities, but given that these property owners are adjacent, they would get notice.
I didn't want to promise that you would be noticed, but it would appear, I would say it's very
Yeah,
good.
the
Good likelihood.
adjacent properties, whether you're in the county or the city, you're going to get notice of a future land use decision.
So that's when you would have your opportunity at that point.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And any other, I don't know if you have any other rebuttal?
Nope, I don't have any other remarks unless you have any other questions.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? All right, thank you. And I'm going to ask one more time, is there anyone else wishing to speak? And do we have anybody online that has her hand up.
There
And-
is no one online, Mr. Chair.
All right, then we will close the public hearing and move on to deliberations. And talk to commissioners first. Any comments, questions, or deliberation before we?
Well, should we
vote
enter the
the motion?
exhibits? How many exhibits are there?
There are 11.
Okay.
I will move to admit exhibits 1 through 11 into the Board of Commissioners record for file number 439-25-00002 LRP and to close the record.
Second?
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Sparacino?
Yes.
Commissioner Dyer?
Yes. Okay, now we can move into deliberations or take a motion. Any discussion before the motion? I mean, I think it checks all the boxes, and it, again, Phoenix approved it, our planning commission recommended approval, so it seems pretty straightforward. And
Well, obviously, the need for the industrial land, I appreciate the concerns of the residents. They are concerns, I think they'll be addressed at a more local level when it's with the city of Phoenix, and I always think that is a good thing, more local control and how their needs are met that way, so.
all right, I'll take a motion.
Okay, based on the evidence and testimony, I move to approve the application for a minor comprehensive plan map amendment to add approximately 24.5 acres into the Phoenix Urban Growth Boundary, UGB, located within a portion of the Urban Reserve PH1A. The subject properties are identified as Township 38 South, Range 1 West, Section 05D, Tax Lot 1300, and Township 38 South, Range 1 West, Section 05D, Tax Lot 1400, and are located at 2195 Voorhees Road, Medford. South Stage LLC is the applicant. File number is 439-25-00002-LRP.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Sparacino?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Dyer?
Yes. Okay, with that, then, I will ask staff to prepare an ordinance and approval of, set dates for the first and second public reading and public hearing of the ordinance, the first reading on May 13th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m., and the second reading, May 27th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m., right here in the courthouse auditorium. And with that, we will adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
That's part of the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.